home of horror podcast, home of horror, the home of horror podcast, And welcome back to the Home of Horror podcast. I'm your host, John. This is episode 43, I believe. We're getting up there. I'm jumping right into the studio this morning. Just woke up not that long ago. I didn't even get dressed yet, but still got a drink going. I wanted to hop right in because I just saw the Black Phone last night. And I wanted to come right in here and talk about it as soon as possible. Plus, it's 90 degrees out. I don't have a fan or an AC in my studio, so the further we get into the day, the hotter it gets. This is going to be a spoiler-free review, so I don't know how long the episode will be. It probably won't be as long as some of the other ones, but I wanted to do spoiler-free because the movie just came out 2 days ago, and I want people to be able to listen to this and not worry about spoilers yet. But yeah, I wanted to hop in, do the damn thing. It's early as shit. Haven't even groomed myself this morning, no shower yet. I got friggin' bare feet, gym shorts on, and the old Jurassic Park tank top. Just wanted to jump right in. Don't care about looking good, It's not what it's about. It's about the movies, man. It's about the movies. Glad you're joining us. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel, please. Yeah. Comment below. Get the algorithm going. So yeah, let's jump right into the movie here. The Black Phone just came out. This is based off, the director is Scott Derrickson. This movie's based off a Joe Hill story. Obviously, that's Stephen King's son, for all of you who don't know. Stars Ethan Hawke as the grabber. We have Mason Thames, I think is how you pronounce his last name, as Finney. Madeline McGraw as Gwen, his little sister, and a couple other actors in there. But first thing I want to say about this movie is the beginning, before everything really gets going, is brilliantly shot. I don't know the exact time period. I'm guessing this is like late 70s. Just by the look of the clothes, the way people act, the cars and everything like that. And they do a great way of showing that with the color. The cinematography is awesome. It just feels, it's all really kind of dark colors and stuff. It's really well shot, and the beginning is the first part of the movie is pretty long as far as introducing these characters. It's mostly kid actors at the beginning here, and they're great. I mean, if it is late 70s, they sure act like it. It's very, a lot of swearing, a lot of cussing, as I like to say. Yeah, and these kids are just awesome, man. The actors are great. They do a great job. There's one scene in the beginning, like I said, I don't want to give too many spoilers, but there's a scene where Gwen, played by Madeline, is crying, and it's one of the most realistic cries I think I've seen in any movie. I mean, she's not like just screaming and like yelling. She's like sulking and it, she's young. She's probably like 11, maybe, and she still has like this, when kids cry at that age, they still kind of have like a baby cry, and it was very, very authentic, and I was like, oh my God, this girl is just killing it, dude. Very, very well acted, and it's surprising because, sometimes kids, especially these two, which I don't know what other movies they've been in, but I don't think it's been too much. Sometimes they can be a little bit on the tougher side with acting, but these kids were phenomenal, especially acting in a time period that they know nothing about, It gave off, I don't want to say it gave off It vibes, but it has that feel of like the Losers Club with all the swearing and the way they act and stuff like that, you know. Um, and then we get into Ethan Hawke as the grabber. Now, this is probably ludicrous to say to a lot of people, but I'm not a huge Ethan Hawke guy. I'm not a big Sinister fan. I haven't watched it in a really long time. I've only seen it like twice, maybe. So I should probably watch it again. But I've never been, and this is from the same producers and stuff as Sinister. I think Blumhouse did this as well. So it's Exorcism of Emily Rose, Sinister, all that. Um, and I just never have been a huge Ethan Hawke fan. I just haven't. But this movie, man, he is brilliant, dude. It is so refreshing to see. He did a great job. Um, and this movie feels very, um, it's about a kidnapper, pretty much. If you've seen the trailer, obviously. Um, it's about this guy who kidnaps kids. They call him the Grabber. And Ethan Hawke just embodies his character so well. He's very ambiguous almost. The whole movie is a little bit. They just don't give you too much away. It gives me like Michael Myers vibes. Not that he's this slasher killer or anything in the movie. Just they just don't give you a lot of background on his character. And I think we make a lot of people make the mistake. Movies make that mistake a lot nowadays, where the story just tries to give you so much, and then you're hoping for this huge drawn out um, ending explanation. And in this movie, you don't get that. You get a very ambiguous character. You don't know much about him, even though you want to know more. That's the biggest thing. You want to know so much about this character. Kind of like Michael Myers. You want to know why he kills. You want to know why he does what he does. But they just don't give you the luxury of having that. They don't give you that satisfaction. And I kind of like that. I really do. So many movies nowadays are just so caught up on the ending has to be this huge explanation, and if it's not, it's considered, just underwhelming. But for this movie, it didn't feel that way. Um, it just felt like, oh man, this is a crime story. It kind of felt it throws you right into the movie. It says, hey, this is what's happening, and just like the other characters, you don't know anything about this guy. And we're not going to give you the satisfaction of knowing anything, which makes it a little bit scarier. Now, having said that, um, yeah, it feels just like it's just such a, it's not, it's not a scary movie. It doesn't have like that. There's a few jump parts here and there, but nothing crazy. Not a lot of action or anything like that. It's just right down to the point. And the concept of the phone. I haven't read the Joe Hill stories. I really want to. Um, I haven't read it. I don't know if maybe they give you a little bit more about this grabber character in the story itself, but not in this. Um, it's just to the point that this concept of this phone and what the kid learns from it. If you've seen the trailer, you understand that these kids that have been captured are calling Finney and giving him pointers on what to do to try to get out of this room, what they did. And it's a really cool concept. It's that's what separates brilliant writers. When you can give these stories. It's it reminds me a lot of his dad, and I know he goes by the last name Hill. He doesn't go by King, and it's because he doesn't want to feed off his dad's success, and he doesn't have to. But they are very similar because if you read King's novels and watch his movies, they don't feel like these really scary movies, but the stories and the characters are so amazing that it makes up for it. It's true horror in the sense that you just get caught up in these stories and you care about the characters so much. That's what makes it scary. It's not the gore on scene. It's not the jump scares. Um, Nothing like that. They're never terrifying. What makes you scared is you fear for the characters themselves because they're so well written, and that's so important in the horror genre, in my opinion. And it's sometimes it's looked over a little too much, I think. To care about the characters is the real horror in it, I think. This movie does a really good job of that. Um, and it does it in a way of not giving you too much. You don't know too much. Like I said, the beginning of the movie is the first act is you get to know these. You get to know Finn. You understand that he's bullied, but he's also friends with people that want him to stand up for himself. So we get a good background story on these kids, but other than that, there's no background. And that's I really like that. I really do. I think it's important to know like your main characters and get a little bit of background on them, but then everybody else, especially in horror, um, you can kind of leave a little clueless. You can be clueless on them a little bit. It makes it a little bit scarier. Um, you could have gone into like the psychological aspect of this grabber character that Ethan Hawke played, but there's so many little things that with the mask and they just make him feel almost like a slasher to me where you just don't know too much. You don't understand why they're doing what they're doing. And that's what everybody says about Michael Myers, right? That's why he's scary because you don't understand why he's doing it. There's not like this revenge feel. Even though in this movie we get clues as to what he's trying to do, but they never explain it. And maybe they make a Black Phone 2. I don't know. Blumhouse tends to try to drag this stuff out. I would love if this was just a standalone movie. I like the idea of a part two rather than I actually want a part two, um, because I think that was my biggest takeaway when I left the theater. I looked at my wife and I said, "Oh man, I want to know so much more." I'm almost frustrated because I don't know enough about this grabber character, why he said certain things, why he did certain things. Um, but you just don't get it. And I think that's a cooler feeling than if I left being like, oh, this is why he did this is why he did that. Then I'm not thinking about the movie after, right? Then I'm just like, oh, that was a cool movie, done. But this movie allows you to be like, oh man, why did he do this? Why did he do that? Why did he wear the mask? Why was he kidnapping these kids? Why did he do it in the way that he did it? Um, why was this black phone introduced? You don't get any of these things. It's all in the dark, and it keeps you in the dark, which is such a cool idea. Um, so I just feel like a lot of movies these days just really try to explain everything to you. And then you really can't, and then that's why a lot of sequels suck, I think, is because you already have the whole story. And with this movie, I guess you could do a part two, but I think it would just kind of tarnish the first one a little bit because you just don't know anything about this guy. Maybe you can do a prequel, maybe not. I'm not sure. Um, and I'm not exactly sure how the stories are set up that Joe Hill wrote. If it's more of like stories about these other kids as well, leading up to this to Finn. Um, but as far as just the movie as a whole goes, it just felt really perfect. You don't get too much. And I think a lot of people might not like that. I think the people who don't like the movie might be like, oh, why did he do this? Why did he, there's a lot of things he says where you're like, games he plays, why he does what he does when Finn's locked in this room with the black phone. Um, why Finn can hear the phone, all this type of things where I think people who don't like the movie maybe are looking for a little bit more of a backstory for that. Um, what else I thought was interesting too is it just feels like, the sister has like these dreams, right? That's why she's, if you watch the trailer, that's why she's trying to find her brother and she's trying to piece her dreams together to figure out where he is. So it really is like a kind of a crime movie, you know. She's working with these detectives and stuff like that, and no one really believes her about the dreams except for her dad, who's trying to kind of, you know, not make a big deal about the dreams. I don't want to give too much away. I'm really trying to walk a fine line here, right? Um, but it almost feels like a gift, like The Shining almost, you know. And I know it's easy to say that with Joe Hill being King's son, but it had that type of feel, a little supernatural, even though they they don't even give you that, you know. They don't even give you too much explanation on that kind of stuff. Um, but yeah, I think that's the biggest takeaway I have is the idea that, you know, these stories can still be really good and you can still care about these characters without knowing too much about them. Um, it just adds to the story, especially like a crime, you know, horror slash thriller like this, where, you know, I feel like that's how crime goes. You know, it's all about mystery and why they're doing what they're doing. Um, and I think, you know, that's kind of cool about thrillers and crime shows and movies where, you know, they're really trying to dig deep on why this guy did what he did or why these characters did what they did, whatever. What were their issues? What were their problems? How was their childhood like? But you get none of that with this character, the grabber, you know. And Ethan Hawke does a great job where, you know, you don't care about his character at all. You don't. There's no empathy with him. And I think if you try to explain too much of a character's past in regards to like a villain, you start to empathize a little bit. And with this movie, it really wouldn't have worked. You know, you're really focused. You're really inside this room with Finn, and you're really rooting for him to get out the whole time. And you know, I think that's important with not giving too much background to the grabber. And I'm really curious to see what like other people think about this movie. I'm gonna watch a lot of reviews. I'm gonna watch the spoiler reviews. I'm gonna watch the spoiler free ones. I'm really interested to see what people think about this movie because it was highly anticipated. It really was, you know. Um, you know, in the basis of the movie, the underlying theme, I guess, is kind of standing up for yourself, right? You know, Finn's a bullied kid, and he has a friend or two that try to help him understand that he has to stand up for himself at some point. Um, and there's a lot of cool lines at the beginning. Starts off with a baseball scene, and there's a lot of important lines from that scene as well that I can't go into because it, you know, it'll spoil the movie. But you know, a lot of important dialogue that was said that's important to Finn's character and his struggles with um, dealing with bullies and dealing with standing up for himself. Um, but what's cool about his character is that he can always take a punch. He always gets back up, you know. And so that's the kind of the theme of the movie where, you know, finally he has to understand that sometimes you have to strike first. You have to make the statement as a person and stand up for yourself and stand up for your loved ones and things like that. And yeah, it's a good theme to run on. It's not too, you know, there's not a lot of symbolism or anything like that. It's just very straight and to the point. And I like that about movies. I really do. I mean, I like movies that go into detail and stuff like that as well. But this movie was just straight and to the point. It just felt like what you were watching, everything you need to know about the movie was on screen the whole time. There wasn't any sugarcoating or anything like that. And for the entertainment aspect, that's perfect. That's what you want in a movie. It's all laid out for you, but there's still good messages in it, um, things you can learn, you know, and that's also very important. This movie out of 10, I think I give like a probably an 8, 8-1 maybe. Let's go 8-1. I really liked it. There wasn't much I didn't like. I think there was a few scenes that I thought were, I don't know, just some of the acting a little bit here and there wasn't unbelievable. Um, I think we could have maybe gotten a little more dialogue from Ethan Hawke and the Grabber. Um, I think maybe that's my only thing about the movie, and it's not really that bad, it's just, you know, Ethan Hawke being Ethan Hawke, and the way he played this character. A little more dialogue would have been cool. It feels like maybe he's not in the movie as much as he should be. But again, the movie isn't about him. It's about Finn. It's about his sister. It's about triumph over evil, I guess, So maybe it wouldn't work as good if he was on screen more because he's less scary. But that's my only gripe with it. I think it's, maybe he could have been on screen a little bit more, I guess. But that's nothing to really complain about on my end. So 8, I'm going to go 8-1 on it. Really good movie. Definitely one I'm going to add to the collection for sure. It's reignited a little flame for Ethan Hawke for me. Like I said, he hasn't been one of my favorite actors or anything. So I'm excited that, especially in the horror genre, other movies I like him in, but I think this gives me a little hope with him. Roles like this are really cool. He plays a terrific villain. Maybe we see more of that. But overall, yeah, great movie. Make sure you go see it. In theaters, it was awesome. It's a very loud movie, I'll say that. So it's definitely something you want to see in theaters. The sounds go along with the atmosphere really, really well. So it's definitely something you want to see on the big screen. But yeah, that's it for this episode. Short and sweet. Thank you guys for watching. I'm glad I could get in. I wanted to do this episode right after I saw the movie, but had a lot going on yesterday. It was a busy Friday, so decided to jump in. I'm glad I got it on all recorded now. And like and comment. Let me know what you thought of the movie. Please, no spoilers in the comments. If I see any spoilers, deleting that shit, dog. But yeah, if you do want to comment, let me know what you think of the episode. Let me know what you think of the movie. Get that algorithm going. Subscribe to the channel, please. A bunch of other episodes are on here that are really good. Not sure what I'm going to do next. Might do another new film, might do an old film. I just got some new movies that I haven't watched. I just picked up Psycho Goreman. I've heard great things about that. I picked up An Incident in a Ghostland. I heard that was really good. At some point I want to start covering some series and some franchises. So I might do that. Trying to get some more guests on as well. So if you do want to come on the podcast, let me know. Hit me up on Instagram. That's New England Home of Horror or at New England HOH. You can DM me if you want to come on. And I appreciate you guys watching. You have a good day, all right? Cheers. Home of Horror, the Home of Horror podcast. Home of Horror, the Home of Horror podcast.